Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, all you dregs of society, all you rock dwellers, all you sycophants, all you stinkos, all you hateful, horrid people who celebrate the president, fly the American flag, and honor America. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show, and you're always welcome here. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, and joining me as my co-host is the Patriot from the Commonwealth of Virginia, gentleman who's the president and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom, and that's George Landreth. George, welcome back to Conservative Commandos.
It's great to be here because this is the place to be.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Well, George, let's start out our show today by talking about our guest. I mean, what a lineup of guests, and we're so pleased and so honored to have these three people join us today.
Absolutely, really are. I mean, we're going to start off with Dick Morris, a man who really doesn't need an introduction, but of course we all know he's a pollster, he's an author, he's a political analyst, he's somebody that can, really dissect things and take things apart and make sense of them. That's really just, I think, his strong suit, been a great strategist over the years. And then we're going to have Susan Allen. Susan Allen was the first lady of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Her husband, George Allen, was I've known them for years because they started off when I lived in Charlottesville. He was my representative in the House of Delegates. Then he was my representative in the U.S. House of Representatives in Washington. Then he was my governor, and then he was my U.S. senator from Virginia. And she, of course, was a very popular first lady. So it'll be great to talk with her about things she's working on in this election, worried about safety for our families and so forth. So it should be a great conversation. And then Tim Constantine is a longtime friend of mine. He is an author. You can read his stuff at the Washington Times. He's also hosts a radio show of his own in Washington, D.C., where he discusses, obviously, public affairs and what's going on. I've known Tim a long time. He's a first-rate guy. I like what he says. I like what he writes. I like what he talks about. But I actually just like Tim. He's a good guy. If you've ever met Tim, if you get to know Tim, you'll like him too. So it'll be a great conversation as well. So I feel, for a show that is on 5 times a week, I'm trying to figure out how is it every time we have just a great lineup of guests? Because you do the math on that, that's a lot of guests throughout the country. I mean, that's not 365 guests. That's going to be closer. It's over 1,000 guests a year. And we just have great guests. So
we do, and this week's show, George, is going to be jam-packed because also this week we're going to have Congressman Bob Barr to join us. We're going to have Roger Stone join us, and also Dinesh D'Souza is going to be joining us to talk about his latest film, Trump Card. And George, I've seen it. It's a must-see. So thankful and honored that we're going to have Dinesh come on, join us for a very special presentation about his movie, Trump Card. But George, so much has happened since the last time you and I spoke. And I think the real bombshell, and is it the October surprise, this computer that was owned by Hunter Biden, left at a repair shop, and George, bingo, there's all the evidence, everything that has been rumored about Hunter Biden for all these many years, Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, Burisma, George, it was all on this computer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, we've been told many times, maybe Hunter's got some questionable dealings because, but he's separate from Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not that kind of guy. And now we get these emails and it appears Joe Biden's the big guy that these foreign powers are paying money to. And they're paying, of course, Hunter, who doesn't have any of the qualifications. So his only qualification is he can set them up to meet with a member of the administration, the Obama-Biden administration, the most corrupt administration in the history of our country. And it's a pay-for-play scheme that Joe Biden willingly participates in and profits from. And the press is not interested in the truth. They're pretending it's not true. They won't bother to, let's assume for the sake of the argument that it's all manufactured. Well, if it is, it seems awfully well manufactured because it lines up with lots of other factoids. and other emails that we know are legitimate, other people who said, oh yeah, I had that, they've actually, press that cared, not the mainstream press who didn't care. Nobody from CNN did this. Nobody from ABC did this. Nobody from NBC did this. But bottom line is, they've gone to people and said, we found this email. Is this a legitimate email that you exchanged that you had with Hunter Biden? And they're like, yeah. And of course, that one might not be criminal, so they admit to it and say, yeah, that's ours. So we now know there's lots of legitimate, real stuff in there that was Hunter Biden with other people, and we're just to believe that the stuff that's criminal is all fake. And yet it backs up lots of stuff, and it helps explain why Joe Biden owns about $10 to $12 million worth of real estate when he left the White House not a wealthy man, and he entered the White House not a wealthy man. All of a sudden now he's grotesquely wealthy. How did that happen? Well, Hunter Biden's emails make it clear. Now I know why the family's not protecting him. I used to wonder, asked myself, why would a family put their dad up to this kind of ridicule when he's clearly suffering from the early stages of dementia and has a limited, diminished mental capacity compared to early on? I know he used to make lots of gaffes, but he wasn't like just all out, he was just kind of a gaffe machine, but he could still, he wasn't stupid is my point. But bottom line is, now he comes across like he's not all there. Why would they do that to him? Now we know. There's money in it. Follow the money. We don't care about dad if we can get millions of dollars. Sure, let him run for office. Just running on the VP status alone, we got hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's see what we can get if we can get him in the White House.
Well, George, they say that he has a net worth of $10 to $15 million. Well, George, he has 3 homes that are worth $10 million alone. Okay, right. That's number one. Number two, so then you have people that say, well, book deal. I don't think that book was that popular, George Landreth. Then you got people that say, well, his wife is a doctor. Well, she's a PhD doctor. Her expertise she was a teacher, George. She was
at a community college.
At a community college.
They don't make a lot of money there.
And George, I don't think the millions of dollars that he is getting from Burisma or from communist China or from Kazakhstan or wherever, I don't think that's in banks here in this country. I'm sure that money is overseas.
You'd think. I mean, they've obviously done a reasonably good job of hiding it and laundering it. There were lots of questions about what was going on, but there wasn't a lot of detailed proof to substantiate things. There was just a lot of questionable, how did this happen? Why is that going on? It's a fair question. Why is someone paying hundreds of millions of dollars to Hunter Biden? Even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why would you pay this guy?
$187,000 a month, George. $187,000 a month, George.
Yeah, that was the first thing we heard about, and it turns out that's chump change. He was getting way more than that from other governments and other players. But the bottom line is, what did he do to warrant that? Example: Senator Wallop was a U.S. senator and a graduate of Yale. He served for 3 terms. I've had many people tell me he was one of the smartest senators they ever knew. That at any moment, on any topic, he could go down to the floor of the Senate and he could talk for a half hour knowledgeably about detailed topics because it was all in his head. He was like Amy Barrett. He didn't need notes. He didn't need staff to write him talking points. I've had people on the other side of the aisle tell me that about him. And yet when he retired from the U.S. Senate, nobody was paying him $87,000 a month. Okay.
Yeah, but we're talking 187,000, not just 87. And this is a guy who was kicked out of the military on drug charges. Right. This is a guy that didn't have any special talent, skills, or education. I don't know how well he did in school, but
he went to law school. But
he knew nothing.
Lawyers aren't generally just any old lawyer that gets drummed out of the military for using crack. I mean, that means he can't possibly be the member of a bar, because you have to actually be able to prove to the bar that you're a person of integrity. I think that if you've been kicked out of the military for using crack cocaine, you're kind of probably not going to pass the tests required to be admitted to the bar. So, but maybe because he's Joe Biden's son, that's okay. But I know probably. This. I would not be a member of the Virginia bar, the California bar, or the U.S. Supreme Court bar. I'm a member of all 3. I would not be a member of any of those if I were a crackhead.
All right. Well, George, let's take our first break here. And again, we've got a great show lined up. We got Dick Morris, Susan Allen, Tim Constantine, all scheduled as guests here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. But first, today's show is being brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. George and I will be right back.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Once again, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And again, we got a great show lined up for you. We've got political pundit Dick Morris joining us, and there's a man who doesn't need any introduction. Former First Lady of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Susan Allen, will be joining us talking about mothers for safe neighborhoods, and also Tim Constantine joining us. Tim's got a new book out. Tim's has his own radio show. He's a writer for the Washington Times, a paper that I think is the best in the country. So we got a great show. But George, here we are 2 weeks before Election Day, and I think there is a real contrast between the two candidates. On one hand, we have Joe Biden. Joe Biden is back in his basement. He went into his basement on Sunday after making one appearance on Saturday. He's not coming out of his basement until the debate next Thursday. Don't know what that's all about. Does he think he's got a lead, an unsurmountable lead? He don't want to be exposed to the public. He don't want to go out there and make a mistake. He don't want to answer questions about the computer, Hunter Biden, Burisma, or the money. Or does he have a physical problem? George, I don't know. But on the other side, got Donald Trump. Okay? He's all over the country doing all types of rallies, 2 and 3 a day. Man, this is a guy that just got out of a hospital sick bed, George. He's dancing on stage. Doesn't look like a man 74 years old, does he?
He doesn't carry himself that way. If you look at the energy level, the way he moves, it's funny, there are people, I think it was the Lincoln Project, tried to run an ad claiming that he wasn't healthy and that he was slipping. It's like, I don't know what you're watching, but, as an American, I thought that was kind of, I couldn't believe they wasted their money on a stupid ad like that, because it's kind of like telling America, hey, don't believe what you see every night on TV. Just ignore that. Trust us. We have the inside scoop. It's like, I'm sorry, don't stand in the rain getting poured on and telling me it's not raining. But that's what they did. So I don't know, if somebody who donated money to the Lincoln Project, you're a moron.
Well,
they're
George,
wasting your money.
Lincoln, I mean, how can you be against a group that's the name Lincoln in their name? George, for our listeners and viewers who maybe don't know a lot about this Lincoln Project, please inform us, educate us.
Sure. The Lincoln Project, they're clever. Let's not say they're entirely stupid, because they understood the value of Abraham Lincoln's name, the respect that he has. They picked his name on purpose, but what it is this collection of hateful never-Trumpers. It's a group of people who will lie, cheat, and steal. They don't care. These are people who claim they're conservatives. They're not. Let's be honest. If you're a never-Trumper, you're not a conservative. There is simply no way you can tell me that you think the world is a better place in 2016 electing Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump. And now again in 2020 that the world will be a better place with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden at the White House and instead of Donald Trump. I understand why people may not like Donald Trump, his personality. He's a little brusque. He sometimes is a little too braggadocious. I gotcha. I understand that. That's fine. But if you're a conservative and you tell me the world is going to look more conservative, be better, then you're not a conservative, you're just an idiot. So the Lincoln Project is comprised of idiots, as are everyone who calls themselves a never-Trumper. I have some friends who claim they're conservatives and they say they support, and my response is, I'm sorry, you were never a conservative then. You've been lying to yourself and to us, because this is a group of people that will promote abortion on demand, et cetera. It's just nuts. I mean, come on. Look at all this. Raising taxes. I could invoke a line here from Joe Biden. Go, come on, man, you lying dog, pony, soldier face, whatever. It's just silly.
Dog face, pony soldier.
Yeah, dog face, pony. There you go. But it's just kind of
whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. It sounds like a word salad to me. He randomly selected words out of the dictionary. Doesn't make any sense. I can do that too. Mama dog, banana patch.
All right. Well, George, let's take our first break and get on with the rest of the show, because we got some great guests joining us today. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landers, President and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom. Yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be speaking with a man who really doesn't need an introduction, Dick Morris. Dick is going to join us, talk about a myriad of issues, including the polls and all the motivation and how the polls are taken. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this break.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $1.99 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And welcome back once again to the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show or see a rebroadcast of our show, please check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Be sure to like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And George, we do have our first guest with us, and the honor of the introduction's all yours.
I am very pleased to introduce our next guest. He's a political pundit. You know who he is. He's an author. He's a pollster. He is essentially one of America's preeminent political experts. Dick Morris, we're really glad to have you here with us today.
Well, it's good to be here with you guys.
Absolutely. Well, we live in a turbulent time. Things are difficult. And so it's great to have someone like you here who can help us kind of wade through a lot of the, garbage and figure out what's real and what's not so real. And you always, of course, at your website, dickmorris.com, have a great resource for folks. So I'll make sure we remind folks where they can sign up to have access to that when you're not here on the show. But the reality is,
every morning I do a short 5-minute video on the news of the day, and it's done fresh every morning. And on Saturdays, I do a history video about Thomas Jefferson or FDR or World War II or something like that. So sign up at dickmorris.com and I'll email it to you every morning. I have 250,000 people who get it.
That's good. Well, that means there's 250,000 people who are smarter every day because they do. So that's a good thing. Of course, in the news right now, or maybe not in the news right now, is the story of Hunter Biden and Joe and the apparent corruption game they had going on. I've heard people say things like, well, maybe Hunter's corrupt, but it's not really Joe, and you can't hold Joe responsible because his son's, and I'm like, I don't think this works without Joe's participation, because Hunter's doesn't have anything really to offer. What he has to offer is access to daddy. But I'm just curious how you see this, and tell us what we ought to be getting out of all either the coverage or the lack of coverage.
Well, the counter to this story has gone in phases. The first was there's nothing there. Then the second was, well, they fired the prosecutor, but that was because Europe wanted it. Then it was, well, they fired the prosecutor and he was investigating, but it's Hunter Biden's scandal. It's not Joe's. And now finally, it's really come full circle to Joe Biden. And the giveaway was an email that Hunter sent to his daughter, Naomi. And he said, I don't get any respect from this family, and I supported it for 30 years. But don't worry, good news. unlike Pop, I won't ask you to give me half of your earnings. And then there's an email where they divide the equity of this new front corporation that's going to process the $1.5 billion investment that the Bank of China made in a totally new, non-credible, inexperienced hedge fund run by Hunter Biden. And don't forget this, John Kerry's son as well, when he was Secretary of State. And in the list of the stocks, they put Hunter down and the various other investors, and then they say, and for the big guy, 10%. And the big guy is also referred to in the Ukraine emails, where it's clearly Joe. It's clearly, he said, thank you for your introduction to the big guy. We had a very productive meeting. So number one, we have proof that Joe Biden knew about all this and participated in it by meeting with the number 2 guy at Burisma. Secondly, we know that Joe Biden gets kickbacks from his son, and that's a major element in supporting the family. Let's remember that when Joe Biden took office as vice president, his net worth was $30,000. When he left office as vice president, it was $600,000. It is now reported by Forbes to be $9 million.
Wow. Retirement's paid well. Now, just to be sure, I just want to ask you, are we sure that the big man isn't, for example, an NBA center or an NFL nose tackle? We're pretty sure it's actually Joe Biden, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, but the thing, unlike Pop, I will not ask you to pay me half of your earnings.
Yeah.
That's
there. You go. Yeah. He's probably not calling a lot of NFL defensive linemen or NBA centers Pop.
And the odds that and the other issue is it Hunter Biden's laptop, and here we have definitive proof, because not only the content is all about Hunter, and not only did Hunter leave it at the repair shop, and not only did Hunter sign for it, the signature of it matches, but after it came out that he had left it there and was in danger of getting leaked, Hunter Biden's attorney called the repair shop and said, hey, that's Hunter's computer and he wants it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting how these are factoids that don't seem to be being covered at many of the news sources. There's kind of radio silence on this. And to me, it demonstrates not just bias, but actual overt dishonesty by the press.
Yes, it does. But we're going to break through that on Thursday when Trump is debating Biden in person. And he's going to confront Biden in that. If the moderator, who used to be on Obama's payroll and was at Obama's Christmas party, doesn't ask that question, you can bet that Trump is going to ask it and really fire away on that.
That makes sense. Talking about bias, and sometimes I'm not entirely sure we use that word, but sometimes I think it's more than that, because to me, bias is generally subtle. When we talk about someone's biased, it used to mean being subtle.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's nothing subtle about this exactly. But let's talk about the media and its polling, because the polling would tell you right now that Joe Biden, while not running ahead of where Hillary was in 2016, according to their polls, he's running way ahead of Donald Trump, and it's not really a close election.
Well, you're not up to date. They're all phony, these media polls, all of them. Yeah. And I know I take polls. And I can tell you how they're phony, but it would take a little bit. But
we've got the time. I'm happy to have you explain it.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, because I think our listeners would appreciate that. I agree with you. They're phony, but I think instead of me telling them, the expert should.
Okay, so let me just first say this about it. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, the goal of the pollsters, the Biden pollsters, who were the media pollsters, was to show way ahead, so it would discourage people from giving Trump money, because they are out buying Trump 2-to-1 on television now. Last week, Trump bought 40 million and they bought 80 million, and in the battleground states. And they're trying to maximize that by discouraging people from giving Trump money. Now they're trying to discourage Trump voters from showing up. But they're also finding that their own voters are discouraged from showing up, and their current rap is to fight against complacency. So now you're seeing the polls narrowing, and that's as phony as when they were wide. It simply is to try to gin up a turnout for Biden. What he's finding is that while it is true that 25 million people have voted early out of an expected turnout of 150 million, those demographics are overwhelmingly female and older and not millennials. Millennials, people between 18 and 20 and 34, account for 25% of the vote, but they're only about 12% of the early vote. And what that means is that they're not drawing new people out to vote. They're just cannibalizing the votes that they will normally get on election day. They're just getting it before. And it means that they really have to work on generating turnout. And that's why all of a sudden the pollsters have realized this race is tightening. Let me explain how to rig a poll. First thing you do is that you do a two-way head-to-head when it's a four-way race. And Biden loses 2 points because of the third and the fourth candidate. Not that they're ideologically in sync with him, but that people turn off the race, say plague on both their houses. I'm voting for Jorgensen, the libertarian, or for Hawkins, the Green Party candidate. Secondly, they don't do likely voters, or if they do, it's a very weak screen for likely. The correct screen is you have an excellent, good, fair, or poor chance of voting. What they usually do is they take excellent, good, and fair. And the service studies show that the fairs are way, way down in turnout. The next thing they do is that they don't weight the data correctly for party. What you have to do is use the 2016 exit polls. And those polls in the battleground states showed Democrats with a 1-point edge. Most of these polls showed Democrats with a 3 or 4 point edge, and some with an 8 or 9 point edge, and some don't even release the party demographics of the people they're polling. So those are the best ways to stack a poll, and they're doing them all.
So this would almost be like if you wanted to take a poll to see how George is doing an election, go to George's family reunion and ask them who they support. And guess what? George is winning big time. Kind of. I mean, I'm being a little facetious, but is that a little bit kind of what's going on?
It really is that. The reliable polling that I've seen and worked with, if you want to get a really reliable poll, go to johnjordanshow.com. He's a political commentator, John Jordan, in California. Coincidentally, he owns Jordan Winery. And he publishes the results on his website. And I've reviewed them. I've reviewed the weightings, and they're basically accurate. And he shows that in the battleground states, the 9 of them, Trump is now behind by 4, which is not bad. You got to understand that Trump had a horrible week before this when he was in the hospital. He got hurt a lot. First of all, the virus became the major issue. When he went into the hospital, the economy was the major issue by 10 points. Now the virus is by 12 points because there's such publicity, the president getting sick. And the media spun that, oh, this is part of a new surge in the virus. They mentioned that the virus new cases have peaked yesterday, the day before, at 71,000, which is huge. But they don't mention that the deaths are still 800. The death rate has not changed in 2 months, completely flat, which means that a lot of people are getting testing positive and not getting sick, or getting sick and getting cured easily. The second problem is that there's a dichotomy in voters' attitudes toward Trump. They like the president, they like the advocate of issues, but they tend not to like his personality or his temperament. And when you ask people, Jordan did in the poll, do you approve of everything about Trump, his personality, temperament, accomplishments, and positions? Or do you only approve of his accomplishments and positions, but not of his personality or temperament? Or do you disapprove of everything? And the statistics normally were about 30% approve of everything, about 20% approve of half, not of his personality, and about 45% hate everything about it. But after he left the hospital, it was no longer 30 to 20 approve everything versus approve half. It was more like 20 to 30. So people's judgments of Trump switched from judging the president and the advocate of issues to judging the personality and the temperament. Because when he was in the hospital, he couldn't be president. He couldn't make public statements. And the big thing was, how's he treating it? What's his personality? How is he handling it? And it was fine, but it was typical Trump. And a lot of people got turned off, as they'd been for a while. Now, the Trump campaign is putting an ad on right now that is absolutely brilliant. It says, he's not always Mr. Nice Guy. Sometimes it isn't even pretty, but he gets it done. Trump will stand up to China. Biden will cave in. Trump will cut taxes. Biden will raise them. Trump will stop illegal immigration. Biden will give him health care. You know, you may not always approve of his style, but tough times demand it. And that ad is beautiful. It's aimed right at that 20 to 30% that don't like the personality, but like the accomplishment. And it basically says, you don't have to love him to vote for him. You can hate him and vote for him because he's a good president and he's doing all this good stuff for you. And that's a line that resonates very well. So the current state of play is that the media wants to make this all about the virus, about the economy. The voters who say the economy is the most important vote for Trump by 75 to 15. Those who say the virus is the most important vote for Biden by 15 to 75, more or less. The same mirror images. Yeah. And the media is trying to sell that the virus is the most important thing. But the economy is the most important thing. It's the thing that will resonate, that'll last long after the virus is cured or prevented.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, Dick, we're up against the clock. We've got to take a quick break. I want to make sure that Rick gets to get in on the conversation as well. Just remind our viewers and listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos. We're coming to you on the Conservative Commandos radio network, the AUN TV network, and of course, always on Al Gore's amazing internet. TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're there. Our own website, ccrshow.com as well, if you want to get a rebroadcast. Don't go away. Rick and I will be right back with more from Dick Morris.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Once again, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos Radio. Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And I want to give a shout out to folks who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also seen on the AUN television network in San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Wine Country, Redding, and very soon in Carson City and Reno.
You guys see, you've only broadcasting in swing states.
California is not really a swing state, so... Our guest really doesn't need an introduction, and it's Dick Morris. Dick is a political analyst, pollster. He's also an author. He happens to be the author of one of my wife's favorite books, and that's 50 Shades of Politics. Dick Morris, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time. Dick, when I look at these polls, and as you said, things changed when the president went into the hospital. Right. Now, I know Dick Morris. In fact, Dick Morris, I just saw a fantastic 6-hour miniseries over the weekend called Scandalous. And in my opinion, my wife and I were talking about it, in our opinion, it was Dick Morris who saved the Clinton presidency. What would you tell Donald Trump, especially going
guys?
Well, you know, I also had a very brief conversation with you about 13 years ago, and I'll never forget when I asked you, Dick, is there ever a time at night when you go to bed just before your head hits the pillow, you regretted what you did for Bill Clinton? I'll never forget your answer when you say every night. So with that, take that. But what would you tell the president? How would you have managed the president coming out of the hospital, dealing with that?
Well, I think he handled it well. I would personally have liked to see more in the way of all I've learned from this and everything that I've absorbed. The whole Biden campaign is based in one word: masks. I mean, that's it. There's nothing else in the damn campaign. And what Trump, I think, should have done was said, I've learned that this thing spreads easily, so I'm wearing a mask, and I'd urge you all to wear it. He kind of said that, but he really didn't. And at the rallies, he could really just tell people to put on masks, just to steal Biden's thunder. But there are 3 things that are going to happen over the next 2 weeks that I think will seriously Trump. First, the economic numbers for the 3rd quarter are going to come out. And the scuttlebutt that I hear is that they are sensational, that they show unbelievable GDP growth. And that's really important because it'll really nail the fact that the recovery is going on and is strong. Secondly, I think there'll be the second debate, or the final debate, and I expect that Trump will do very well. I expect he's learned his lesson and won't interrupt all the time, because his best moments are when Biden's speaking. and I think that he'll nail Biden to the floor about Hunter and that whole story. And finally, I think that the other thing that's been going on is that there will be increasing evidence that the virus is curable. There'll be, as we have another 2 weeks of experience with this, I think that will become increasingly evident. Trump walking around is evidence number one that it's curable. And the contrast between Trump campaigning his heart out and Biden taking all week off, which he is now, he's doing nothing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and just the debate on
What's
Thursday.
your take of that? Yeah, to me, I can't comprehend a candidate taking a week off 2 weeks before the campaign, for the election.
That he's weak, he's frail, he needs the rest, he needs some drugs. He's probably on the stuff they give. I've been told he's on the stuff that they give kids with ADD so they can focus for half an hour, and take the SAT. And he just doesn't have the energy to do this. He's a very weak, frail guy. But I think that and there's the other thing you can't ignore is there are 3 rabbits that are sitting in hats right now. And if I know Trump, he'll pull them out. The first rabbit is the stimulus package, where he's cornered Pelosi to a point where she has to really say, hey, go screw yourselves. I'm not giving you any extra money. Because he's narrowed it down to a $600 billion package that aims particularly at unemployment benefits, airlines, and a couple of other stuff. Secondly, I think the other rabbit is that I think he may get Saudi Arabia to sign on to his peace treaty with Israel. He's gotten Bahrain, he's gotten Kuwait, and I think that Bahrain doesn't do anything without the Saudis' approval. And I think it's very possible that Saudi Arabia comes along. And the third rabbit is that he's right in the end stages of arms control negotiations with Putin. And the existing arms control treaty expires at the end of November. And both sides want it renewed. They've more or less agreed on terms. And I think you could see a signing before Election Day. So I think those are 3 rabbits that are safely in their hats right now that I would expect Trump to pull out.
Is Amy Coney Barrett a 4th rabbit?
Yeah, well, she's great. I meant to say that. She's fabulous because she, to use a religious metaphor, she incarnates the issue of the Supreme Court. You look at her and you say, wow, this is really some high caliber judge. And how can I say that Trump isn't pro-women when this is the person he nominates? And we learn all about her family and her adopted children and her interracial home and all of that stuff. And it's kind of exhibit A for Trump. And I think that's important. And Biden is increasingly getting pinned down on the court packing issue. He can't hide from that. He's increasingly being forced to take a position on it. And with Amy Coney Barrett being confirmed, which she will be, I think that further knocks Biden's position. So what we're looking at now is we're looking at a moving picture. Trump was down and he's come back. And when I say he's 4 behind in the battleground states, that's a photograph of his upward trajectory. I would expect that by next week, he probably will have a lead among those.
Dick Morris, dickmorris.com. Dick, I appreciate you coming on. On your website, you have a petition. Sign the petition. Stop the Democrats' court packing plan. Tell our audience about that.
Let me take a second on that. Thank you. What the Democratic plan is that if they win the Senate and they win the presidency, first thing they're going to do is to repeal the filibuster rule so they can pass anything. So there is compliance as Nancy Pelosi's House, completely docile. Second thing they're going to do is pack the Supreme Court with 4 or 5 extra liberal judges. Third thing they're going to do is admit Puerto Rico and D.C. as states. So that you get 4 new senators and about 9 new electoral votes that are guaranteed Democrat. And those will eliminate checks and balances. I mean, that's for keeps. That's for real. Now, the president we talked about, but in terms of the Senate races, can I go into that? Do we have a second?
Sure.
Yeah. The Republicans are going to capture a seat in Alabama that the Democrats hold temporarily, and will gain that. So we have a 4-seat margin. Now, if Pence is reelected, 4 seats is enough to win. But if Harris becomes the VP, you need 3. You can only lose 3 seats. 1 seat, Colorado, is 10 points behind there, even though Cory Gardner is a great senator. But there are 3 seats there which are right on the edge, and we can afford to lose 2 of the 3 and keep control. One is Maine. I know you don't love her all the time, but Susan Collins will vote for Republicans for leadership. That's the most important vote any senator casts. Secondly, Joni Ernst in Iowa is only 3 behind, and she's been catching up. And thirdly, Martha McSally in Arizona is only 5 behind, and she's catching up. Now, Carolina, where we were behind, but there's been this big sex scandal with Cunningham, and he's fallen since then, and we're currently only 1 behind, and I think we'll pull ahead. And all the other races that the press talks about are solidly Republican. Mitch McConnell's going to win. Daines in Montana is going to win. Lindsey Graham in South Carolina is going to win. All of those so-called endangered seats, that's all baloney. It's boiling down to those 3 races, and we can afford to lose 2 of them. So do what I did. Send 3 checks to those people. Just go online to Joni Ernst, Jonierst, Martha McSally, and Susan Collins, and give them money. If you don't, you're absolutely giving up our Constitution, because they use that to pack the court, pack the Senate, and eliminate the filibuster rule. And the Senate will be, it basically converts us into a parliamentary system.
Dick Morris, dickmorris.com. Dick, so appreciate you coming on. I subscribe to your lunchtime alerts. I subscribe to your newsletter. Tell our listeners and our viewers how they can do the same.
Well, just go to dickmorris.com, and there's a screen that pops up and says, do you want to subscribe? It's free. You just enter your email address and I think your zip code and click enter, and you're in.
All right, Dick, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
God bless you.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to have the former First Lady of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Susan Allen, join us, and she's going to talk to us about Mothers for Safe Neighborhoods. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000. You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry. They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more. Call the number on your screen now for a free no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and 0 deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is George Landreth, President and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, be it our radio show, be it our TV show, good place to go is our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You could also check out the website of our television network. That's aun-tv.com. And with that, George, we do have our next guest with us. In the honor of that introduction, George, is all up to you.
I'm excited about it because we have Susan Allen with us, and she is somebody that I have known and followed and admired for many years, simply because I used to live in the Charlottesville-Albemarle area, and her husband and she were an institution in that area. He started off as in the House of Delegates. He actually, I believe, if I recall, sat in what would have been Thomas Jefferson's seat in the House of Delegates. Then he became a member of the Congress, and then later he became governor. She was the First Lady of Virginia, and she was a very popular First Lady of Virginia because she was very down-to-earth, practical, and real. And as was, quite frankly, George. George was also, for the same reasons, very popular, and went on to be elected to be a U.S. Senator from Virginia as well. And she promoted Virginia tourism when she was, and worked on women's health issues, breast cancer awareness, fitness, the whole 9 yards. She's been involved in conservative politics for a long time. She's been a radio show host. You name it, she's done it. She's worked for nonprofits and helped promote them. Virginians will recognize the name Jennifer Byler. There's an institute in her name now, and Susan was involved in that as well. She's done a lot of work, and she's written a children's book that I think just the title of it lets you know you ought to get a hold of this for your children and grandchildren. That's The Remarkable Ronald Reagan. So with that, Susan, welcome to the Conservative Commandos. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. And with that welcome, I'm really thrilled to be with you all today. Thank you.
Absolutely. You've been doing some really great work on Mothers for Safe Neighborhoods, an organization known as Moms. And I just thought I'd ask you to tell us kind of what's the point of that? Obviously, we all want safe neighborhoods, but I know kind of specifically, what are you guys doing?
George, thank you so much for that question. You know, it's an interesting time. 2020 has been a very interesting year. And the closer we get to Election Day, the more angst, perhaps you could say, is what we're seeing in all sorts of crowds. Women in particular, though, I think, as we take care of our parents, send our children off to schools, take care of our businesses, take care of our homes, making sure our families are okay, there is a sense that nobody out there is making sure that we have safe and secure communities. The public safety issue is a huge one heading into this election, and there's only one candidate running for president, frankly, who has spoken about this issue when it comes to taking back our streets, making sure that we are backing law enforcement, making sure that we have conversations after this election. We're bringing everybody to the tables to come up with solutions on how we can get along, how we can hear everybody's voice without the violence and the destruction that we've seen across the country in every type of neighborhood, not just inner cities, but in rural areas too. So safe neighborhoods is really a concern. It's a grassroots coalition. It's an issue that's resonating with women across the country. And we're just uniting that voice and uniting the cause to reelect President Trump.
That makes a lot of sense. One could have argued, say, 2 years ago, that at least some portions of this agenda would be self-evident or not that important. But after this year, oh my goodness, it becomes very clear why your message of, sure, we want to hear each other. We want people to be able to exercise their constitutional right to free speech, to petition their government for the redress of grievances. but we also want for people to have the freedom to be safe, because without that, then we have anarchy in the streets. And one of the reasons we have a government is because anarchy is not actually liberty. It's not freedom. It returns us to this sort of situation where it's almost like, in the woods, the biggest wolf gets whatever they want, kind of thing. And it's just, we don't really want to live like that. We're humans and we have rights, and we want to extend those rights to everyone. So I appreciate that you're taking this cause and making it important, because the reality is this is a cause that this isn't really political as I see it. This is actually about life, human life, and the quality of life.
In fact, I had an interesting experience the other day at our local Walmart here in Virginia Beach. A woman in a motorized cart came up and just started a conversation with me. She didn't know who I was, that I had political interests of any sort. But she said to me, just started the conversation talking about the violence that she's watching on TV and how this is spurring her on to talk to people she knows about the importance of this election. But I think that is a very typical feeling, again, maybe more so amongst women, because we tend to be the caretakers of all, the elderly, the young, our families, our spouses, our friends. So we're concerned about everybody, not that you guys aren't, but because we are taking care of so many in our circles usually, safety is really a huge issue. And there may be a silent majority out there marching to the polls with this issue in mind, but I think it's a strong one. In fact, I look at this year, and the issue that I believe will drive people to the polls more than anything is someone who's just saying there is a difference between right and wrong, and that's Donald Trump. The other side is allowing anarchy and chaos to take place and to just sort of say it's okay. They're not calling it down. They're not condemning it. And I think we should be afraid of a Biden-Harris ticket coming into power where they see a world working just fine without law enforcement being there. So 4 years ago, I proudly voted for Donald Trump because he was calling the media out for what I call the third political party, because they have so much power, and they were fake news. They are fake news. We've known that for a long time. He was the only candidate pointing that out. And for this election, I think Donald Trump should be the candidate we choose, because he's calling out criminals, because what we're seeing in the streets is actually criminal behavior. In fact, George, just this week in Virginia, the General Assembly passed a new law that said police will no longer be able to stop you with a broken taillight, a loud muffler, broken headlights, because some have seen that as a racist issue. I don't know what happened, where things went topsy-turvy, but in my world, that's just a safety issue. And you want to know yourself, but you also don't want to bring injury to others because you're driving in a faulty vehicle. It has nothing to do with race.
Well, and for the record, I'm a white man, in case you're listening on the radio and you can't see my picture. And I've been pulled over on more than one occasion in my life because of a burnout taillight or some other thing that wasn't working in my car. And the
Me too, George. Me too.
So I'm pretty sure it's not about race. It's kind of an interesting issue. But we've only got a couple minutes left in this segment. But I thought it might be good to ask you to talk about some of the work that you guys are doing with this ad campaign, because as I see it, we have to mobilize people who care about having how is society free if you can't leave your home and take a walk down the street with your children in twilight, if you have to huddle in your home fearful that you might be attacked? Where is the freedom in that? And so to me, this is, again, not politics. This is about a quality of life question.
Correct. You think about the older person stuck in their apartment in Portland or Seattle, or the woman who wants to take her children to Wednesday night church service in some other town in Chicago or whatever, but is afraid to go to her car or catch the local transit system because there's just a fear of life walking out of your front door. Nobody should live that way. We live in America, the land of opportunity, and it should be the opportunity for all. And in order for that to happen, you've got to have some law and order. And yes, there are bad apples in every segment of the population. We can work on that. We can have more training. And I think that's necessary, but do it in such a way where you're bringing all voices to the table and talking together as a community. We've got to live together. And in order to do so peacefully, we still need to have some parameters and some law and order.
Absolutely. So this, you all are doing an ad campaign. I know Rick's probably going to ask you how people can follow it, but I think this is important enough. It may be worth doing twice. So our listeners, so at the end of our next segment, I think we'll do this again. But I think it's important. People, if they want to say, you know what, Susan Allen is talking about something I care about, and I'd like to donate some money to make sure that message gets out. Can they do that?
You got it. Momsforsafeneighborhoods.com is a great place to go for information and to contribute to this ad campaign. We've been on the Today Show, E! News, all over the media the last couple of weeks, and it's because of a grassroots effort, generous donors who are allowing us to be able to get this message out there. But it's women talking to women. We are great networkers. We ask each other where the best grocery stores are, where to send our kids to school, where our parents should go for help. And we trust one another. So women talking to women on Twitter, Facebook, emails, that's going to help us get this message out. Women talking to women about safe neighborhoods.
Absolutely. And for men, I suspect the dollars will spend as well. And I think if you care, and I know men do, but I do think you're right. Women tend to be more social. I think sometimes men are a little more, I don't know. But anyhow, But I appreciate it. We are up against the break, and I do want to make sure that I don't rob Rick of his chance to have some conversation with you as well. I do want to remind our viewers and our listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos, and we're coming on the Conservative Commandos radio network, which is broadcast all across this great nation, and on the AUN-TV network, the American Uncensored News Network. And if you're not near one of the many broadcast towers, never fear, because Al Gore's amazing internet steps in. You got iHeartRadio, TalkStream Live, you name it, plus our own website, ccrshow.com. It's all there. Don't go away. Rick and I and Susan Allen will be right back.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And you know me, as I love to do, and that's give shout outs to folks who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida. Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also seen on the 9 stations of the AUN television network in San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Wine Country, Redding, and very soon in Carson City and in Reno. Our guest this segment is Susan Allen. She is the former First Lady of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I didn't say state, but the Commonwealth of Virginia. And she's also here talking about Mothers for Safe Neighborhoods. And Susan, welcome back. And I know you're an author of a book, The Remarkable Ronald Reagan. Do you happen to have that book handy?
I do. Thank you for that shout out. You know, this has been a real joy to write a children's book about Ronald Reagan. It's one of the very few that you can even find about Ronald Reagan, and folks can go online and get a copy. But we're happy to share Reagan's optimistic story and how he just had big dreams and sought them out and through hard work achieved them. And we were lucky to have him as president, weren't we?
Oh my gosh, we sure were. We sure were. And I think about him a lot. I love to watch his speeches, and I think how lucky, how fortunate the country was for a man like Ronald Reagan at that time. And frankly, Susan, I think we've got a man like that now, different in style, different in character. But one thing I love about our current president, Susan, above and beyond everything, he puts America first, including America's mothers. And, you know, Susan, when I got the email saying that you'd like to come on our show, Mothers for Safe Neighborhoods, I thought, you know what? This is something. This is an issue that's not getting enough attention. Why is that?
I don't know. Well, you know, I'm sorry for you guys, but I do blame the media for a lot of things. Not the good guys in the media, but the mainstream media, because they tend to ignore a lot of issues. Look at what they're doing with the Hunter Biden story right now, for heaven's sakes, brushing it under the rug as if it's nothing. But they have chosen their candidate, and they have chosen what stories they're going to run. But again, I trust Americans. I think in their gut, they're seeing what's going on in their neighborhoods and in their communities. And there's a real sense of urgency in trying to achieve what we once had in America, a strong economy, which President Trump really, really pushed and can do again. A country that is seen as the #1 in the world, but has the ability to bring others to the table, which President Trump has done with Israel and UAE and Bahrain and other countries. So, you know, a lot of these issues are not getting attention. The other thing is healthcare, another issue that the Democrats are running with, in fact, saying such horrible things that Republicans have no desire to take care of pre-existing conditions, which is not at all true. What Republicans want is competitiveness. We want to have our medications made in America again, not overseas. We want to make sure that health savings accounts are prevalent and that people have just more choices with their health care. And so these issues are not being talked about. Somehow the media runs amok with all of these other personality issues and things that, frankly, don't do anything to further our goals of having a strong America again. And safe neighborhoods and public safety is just like those other issues I've mentioned. People feel it on the street, they sense it on the street, they see it on TV, they're concerned about what's happening, why we aren't backing our law enforcement, why we aren't going after Antifa as a terrorist group. There's only one candidate who's saying he's going to stand with women who are serving our communities and keeping us safe, and that's Donald Trump.
You know, Susan, when I watch the Joe Biden ads, he's got this ad, Build Back Better. Oh my God, he never built anything in his life. However, there is a man running for president that has a fantastic reputation as a builder, and that's Donald Trump. He's built an empire, the Trump empire. And he, in my opinion, he also built the greatest economy in the history of the world, bar none. And I think the question, it's a very fair question to ask all mothers, is are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? How would you explain that, Susan?
I think it's a very difficult time. You know, a lot of women have lost their jobs during this pandemic. A lot of women have seen family members go through illnesses. A lot of women are suffering through all sorts of issues right now because they're concerned. They're caregivers. They're concerned about those in their circles, whether they have their own family or they just help with friends and others in their networks. So women are very concerned, but we've got to remind them and talk about the importance of standing strong and standing with those who will protect us. Certainly the Second Amendment is an issue that conservatives believe in. When nobody's coming to your house to take care of protecting you, you better be able to protect yourself by whatever means. And nobody should take that right away. It's in the Constitution. But beyond that, we're going to rely on those who are trained in our communities to come and protect us and protect our children in their schools and protect our seniors as they're walking home from the grocery at night. So, public safety, again, will be one of those driving issues that women, I think, can tether themselves to and say, there's only one candidate who's going to stand with us, and that's Donald Trump.
Susan, when you talk about getting back to schools, mothers today, not just all the jobs that they have, wives, mothers, cooks, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, but now they're expected to be teachers.
Right.
My God, let's throw more responsibility on the shoulders of mothers. Can you talk about what it's going to take or why it's so important to get when you talk about mothers for safe neighborhoods, schools have to be included in this. Can you talk about schools and education and our children and getting those children back into the classroom where they belong?
Oh, it's so true. And I think you're seeing in states across the country where you have good governance, they are allowing the schools to be open and they're doing the best they can. They're social distancing. The teachers are prepared. The students are getting back into a normal routine. That is so desperately needed. And in the states where you have governors who rely much more on being a nanny than allowing freedom, the restrictions are there. And I think we're going to end up with a lost generation if this goes on, because at what point do you cut it off and say, all right, everybody back in? You've got to go ahead and take those first steps. You're seeing it on college campuses the same way. Yes, you'll see a spike of COVID, but younger people tend to be stronger. They tend to be more resilient. You've got to get through that period and let life begin again in a normal way.
Susan, when you talk about mothers in America, how could you have a conversation about mothers in America without talking about Amy Coney Barrett? I mean, what a wonderful example for being a woman, for being a mother, for being a judge. Wow. Could you talk a little bit about her and what effect you think she's going to make on this country?
Well, what an amazing person. And the more you know about her, the more you can't help but really admire and like her. And I think women on the left in particular should look at her and go, wow, she's doing everything we set out to aspire to years ago with the women's liberation movement when they were, saying you can have it all. I mean, she's got a obviously supportive husband. She's got 7 kids, 2 adopted, 1 with Down syndrome, but she's brilliant. She's been a professor at Notre Dame for 18 years. She was executive director of her law review. I mean, graduated at the top of her class. Her resume is incredible. She's poised. She's got great sense. The fact that she sat through those hearings with a blank notebook but could talk off the top of her head to some of the most ridiculous questions, I thought showed a woman who those of us in the South would steel magnolia. And I think she's a perfect replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, for all the reasons that the left liked her, aside from political philosophy. You've got that in this woman, a strong woman, a great role model, somebody who's gone far above and beyond just the average Joe out there. And I think she'll be a great addition to the Supreme Court. I do hope the vote takes place. I do hope she gets in there. And then the issue that surrounds this issue is the one that Joe Biden is refusing to answer on whether or not he's going to push to add more Supreme Court justices to the court. That's a really important issue. And it's like children not getting their way and saying, well, the other kids got to do this, so now I'm going to change the rules of the game, and I'm going to just start adding my own tidbits, and that's just not right. I mean, the public is totally against the idea of increasing the number of Supreme Court justices. But if they win, that is a real threat to our American system.
Susan Allen, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Mothers for Safe Neighborhoods. Susan, please tell our audience how they can find more out about Mothers for Safe Neighborhoods, how they can help, how they can get involved, and also your book. And I think books like this are so important for young kids because they're not being taught a lot of history in school today. If they're being taught history, it's a lot of revisionist history. Once again, Susan, hold up that book and tell our audience how they can get that book and also more about Mothers for Safe Neighborhoods.
Thank you, Rick. The remarkable Ronald Reagan, because he was remarkable and lived in a remarkable time and did remarkable things for not just the U.S., but the entire world. Make sure your children and grandchildren have this on their bookshelf. It's a real keeper. And write in there your thoughts of Ronald Reagan, because then it will become a family heirloom. Very, very important.
Love that idea.
So momsforsafeneighborhoods.com is where people can go to find more information about what we're putting out there, how we're asking women and men to help us. But message your friends. Monday night, send a message out, an email to 10 people and say, look, Moms for Safe Neighborhoods, we can unite on this issue. There's one candidate talking about public safety, and that's Donald Trump. We've got to make sure we get him back in the White House, together in our communities once again to talk about how we keep it safe, how we back those men and women who keep our neighborhoods safe. Moms for Safe Neighborhoods, I believe, is the winning ticket for Donald Trump and our other candidates this fall.
Okay. Susan Allen, great to meet you. Thank you for joining us here in Conservative Commandos radio show, and take care and God bless.
Same to you all. Thank you so much.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to be joined by radio talk show host. He's also an award-winning writer at the Washington Times, and that's Tim Constantine. Tim's going to join us to talk about Trump says no to virtual debates. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth, President and CEO of Frontiers of Freedom, and yours truly, Rick Trader. And if you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, be it our radio show, be it our TV show, the place to go is our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Also, check out the website of the AUN Television Network at aun-tv.com. And George, with that, our next guest is with us. And from what I understand, you guys are old buddies. So George, make that introduction.
Absolutely. I am excited to introduce my good friend, Tim Constantine. Just so you know, Tim is not just a talk radio show host. He's not just a television pundit or, quite frankly, even award-winning writer. Not that that's not enough. That's all awesome. But the reality is, Tim is simply just a really awesome person. I've known him for years. I've always appreciated his perspective. He's a deep thinker. He cares about his country. And one of the things I think in the media that sometimes a temptation is to try to be flamboyant simply to get coverage. Tim's goal is to help America be everything America should be. So I've always really appreciated the fact that Tim's that kind of a journalist and a media personality, as opposed to somebody who's just trying to, Twitter retweets or something. He really is just top-notch, top quality, first-rate American. That's what he really is. He's just a patriotic American, and that's one of the reasons why I always loved him, because he's just awesome. But anyhow, he broadcasts from Washington, D.C. to listeners all across the United States. He also does stuff on television, and as I said, he also writes for the Washington Times. So you should be watching out for Tim Constantine. He is just a great voice, and he's written a really great article that we wanted to get into, and perhaps we'll be able to get into other issues too. But with that, I do want to welcome my good friend, Tim, to the Conservative Commandos radio show and television show.
After all that, does my head still fit in the frame? I don't know.
It does. It fits perfectly. So I'm excited to have you on the show for the reasons I already said. But let's talk a little bit about the debate situation, because with the president getting COVID and then quickly getting much better and now looking great and healthy and vibrant, but there was this debate that got canceled, and then there's this discussion about whether the debate should become virtual. Let's have a discussion what's going on here, because it seems to me there's a lot of moving parts here, but you've got questionable moderators in terms of what their background is. You've got all this other stuff going on. Why would the president not be keen on a virtual debate?
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned the moderators, and of course, Steve Scully. It's important to note that Steve takes as an intern for Joe Biden. So we're not dealing with I'll give you an example. I tend to lean to the right, but I had an internship in the United States Senate when I was in college with George Mitchell, who was a Democrat. Bill Cohen was the other senator from Maine at that time. Bill Cohen did not offer internship, so I took the internship with George Mitchell. I think the world of George Mitchell. I disagree with him on a number of issues, but boy, what a great guy, and what an impression he made on me as a 20-year-old, 21-year-old. And so even if Steve Scully in general is trying to be a well-balanced moderator, it's not a fair issue there. I wouldn't go and pretend I'm unbiased with George Mitchell. And I don't even agree with him. Steve Scully, particularly after he sent out his little social media things and pretended that he was hacked, clearly was biased in this process. So that was number one. The moderator was a bad choice. Number two, I have my issues with the Presidential Commission on Debates, because you've got 3 Democrats and 2 Republicans. The two Republicans were both self-proclaimed anti-Trumpers never Trumpers in 2016. So you've got 5 people who do not want one of these candidates to be president of the United States making the decision. And I think, call me a conspiracy nut, but I think that's why they changed it to a virtual debate, to either A, give Joe Biden a little bit of assistance in the process, or B, because they really didn't think Trump would participate, and what better way to wash their hands of the matter.
Yeah, that's interesting. You make a very good point. One of the things that I think is important to recognize is that debates don't actually require a commission. you can have debates without them. In fact, you can have them without moderators if you want to. That's how the Lincoln Douglas debates went. But even if you like moderators, and I'm not saying moderators wouldn't be a bad idea, there's lots of ways to do it where the two campaigns could just get together and say, let's have 3 debates. Let's work on the dates and the places.
What I think should have happened when they said we were going to cancel the second debate, it's Vince McMahon should have come in and said, we will sponsor the debate, and I, Vince McMahon, will be the moderator for this thing. And, if people got out of line and were interrupting each other, he could have a couple of the big WWE guys on the side to make sure he kept them apart. I think it would have been, A, ratings winner, and B, a much more entertaining debate.
And also,
and his introductions would have been awesome.
It would have been a pay-per-view event, right? Made a lot of money for charity or something.
Yeah. No, that's no. You make a good point that debates aren't actually that difficult. They occur all the time in congressional races and Senate races, in gubernatorial races, even in mayoral races and things like that. And there is no, bipartisan, in quotes.
I loved them back in my day.
Commission to hold them. I mean, they somehow materialize. It's like, wow, so it is. You make a very good point about the questions that are there.
The other part about this process is, how they both went to their town hall meetings after the second debate was canceled, and ABC offered Joe Biden a town hall. And then everyone was angry. All the left and all the media were angry when NBC said they would hold one at the same time with Trump. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, you got 2 candidates and 2 networks. And frankly, in today's world, you can record it if you really want to see them both. But they were angry. How dare the NBC offer that to them? But the part that really got me is Savannah Guthrie was debating Donald Trump. I mean, the person would say, hello, I voted for Hillary Clinton last time, but I have a question for you. And they would ask a nice question. And then Savannah Guthrie would let him get 3 words out and jump down his throat. And later, I watched that one live. And then later, I flipped over and watched a recorded version of Joe Biden. And excuse my movement here, but I swear, George Stephanopoulos was leaning back like this. And he was sitting relaxed, and he'd say, well, our next question comes from Joe Blow from Idaho. Joe, what's your question? And he did not interrupt. He did not participate. I think there was one point where he actually asked like a follow-up question to one of the questions, but it certainly was not adversarial or argumentative. And I thought the contrast between those 2 town halls was overwhelming. And it's not a surprise to anybody who follows it. The media hates, and I mean loathes, Donald Trump, but there's not even the pretense of being fair or equal or balanced in any of this.
Yeah, no, you make a very good point. I think she got, if I recall, it was like a very long way into the debate before she even had a question from the town hall.
At one point, Trump was saying, we can waste the whole hour doing this if you want, but what if we get on to a real issue? And I laughed. I thought, good. I'm glad he's saying that because, and she was, well, why won't you go against white supremacists? And he said, I will. I just said it now. I said it last time. Why do you keep asking me the same question and then claiming that I don't oppose white supremacy? It's just, it was silly. Absolutely silly. Yesterday, the media asked, or over the weekend, the media asked Joe Biden, what's your favorite, what was your flavor of ice cream? He went out and ordered ice cream. I think it was with his granddaughter. And that was the question they asked him. They got together and they put their heads together. And was it, hey, what about Hunter? Was it, what about packing the court? What about, no. What flavor ice cream did you order? That was the only question, and he kept moving.
I hope he's able to answer it.
I'm not sure if he was.
But, I remember, and I don't think it's an actual question, but this is kind of, if you will, the flavor of the questions to follow up on what flavor ice cream was kind of like, isn't it difficult to, isn't it frustrating to watch how poorly President Trump has handled the whole COVID thing? And wouldn't you do a much, much better job? Yeah, absolutely I would. Yeah, it's been very, it's just like, what kind of question is this garbage? It's just, these aren't serious people. But, I also want to make sure that I ask and get into this, just let you discuss it briefly, but that is when you look at how the press deals with, for example, the whole question of Joe Biden's corruption. They've had a number of stories. Initially, it's been debunked. It's not real. Then it was, it's just Joe. It's just Hunter. This has nothing to do with Joe. It's not fair to bring the family in. And they've kind of had this migration to where, and now all of a sudden it's just, we don't want to talk about it. And I'm trying to figure out which answer I should accept as the real answer, because in real life, you don't get like 47 chances to answer a question.
No, I'm blown away by the fact that the media does not require Joe Biden to answer anything. Where do you stand on packing the court? I don't want to talk about that, because if I do, it will be the headline tomorrow. What? Oh, because maybe people would like to know. They don't deserve to know. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard, and yet he's leading in the polls. So the Hunter Biden questions, are, I think it's easy to deny until things start coming out. I will tell you, quite frankly, I think it's a little suspect that it's leaking out now. I think it's a little suspect that Rudy Giuliani is involved. I think it's but nobody in the Biden camp is denying the contents of those emails. Nobody is denying any of those. So it appears it's legitimate information. And Adam Schiff went on television over the weekend and said, no, we have information through the intelligence community that this is merely a Russian attempt to influence our election. And of course, the DNI came out immediately and said, no, it's not. We haven't briefed Congress, so Adam Schiff doesn't know. This is the same Adam Schiff who for 2 years said, well, behind the scenes, we have some information of what Trump and the Russians really did. Oops, none exists. So he's not trustworthy to start with, but he literally within 24 hours, the director of national intelligence came out and said, that's just not true. If he has anything, please let us know, because none of that is accurate. That's not true. So I think the Biden camp by default is admitting, all right, Hunter did do this. And again, Jimmy Carter had Billy Carter. We all have cousins or crazy uncles or somebody that did something. And it's horrible if your kid did something inappropriate. But in this case, these emails seem to show that Hunter introduced them to Joe Biden while he was vice president, and Biden has denied that repeatedly up until now. So he's been lying to the American public if these emails are accurate. The whole process that nobody in the media seems to care. And I just play the what if it was Trump routine with everything, because what if it was Don Jr. that had been getting millions of dollars from Ukraine and China and all these places? The media's heads would explode. They would go crazy. They wouldn't say, oh, well, that's his kid. Doesn't matter. And if somebody even hinted that the big guy, as this email purports to say, was going to get his cut for doing this, it implies that that is Joe Biden. If the big guy was Donald Trump, again, the media, this would be the biggest story of these 2 weeks till they came up with the next big story.
Well, they'd be filing impeachment by midnight tonight.
Yeah. Impeachment before midnight tonight.
Yeah, they would. It'd be crazy. Well, we're up against the break, so I'm glad you can stick around, because I know there's more to talk about. I know Rick wants to get on the conversation. I don't want to cheat him out of that, but I do want to remind our viewers and listeners, this is the Conservative Commandos. I'm George Landreth. He's Rick Schrader, and the other guy that's good-looking and articulate, that is Tim Constantine, and we're glad to have him with us, and he will be back with us. I just want to remind you, we're coming to the Conservative Commandos Radio Network, the AUN TV Network, and of course, always Al Gore's amazing internet, TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, you name it, including our own website, ccrshow.com. Don't go away. Rick and I'll be back, along with Tim, with more.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. And just one more time, I want to give a shout out to folks who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also seen on the AUN television network in San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Santa Rosa, Silicon Valley, Wine Valley, Redding, and very soon in Carson City and in Reno. Our guest this segment is Tim Constantine. He's a radio talk show host, television pundit, award-winning writer for one of the greatest newspapers I think that's in the country. That's the Washington Times. Tim also has a new book out. And Tim, hold up that book, please. White Guys Are Okay Too. Tim, thank you for holding through that break, and we want to thank Checkers for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Yeah, you know what's fun? Today I'm home. I'm doing the show from home. I said, normally I'm either in the TV studio or the radio studio, and today we're just kind of nestled in. So I are hanging out.
Well, hey, Tim, that's the new norm, isn't it? People doing their radio shows, TV, even the network, from what I understand. Fox now sees they don't have to have studios, makeup, hair people. They laid a bunch of people off, and half their money. Half their people are doing it from home. You know, it's the new norm.
I may have to lay off my makeup person. Checkers, I'm sorry, you're all done.
Hey, Tim, tell us about the book. White guys are okay too. That sounds a little racist to me. I don't know, Tim.
Yeah, it's because we're okay. I didn't say we're the greatest, but because I said, nah, we're okay too. I must be racist. The last 5 or 6 years, there's no shortage of news media repeatedly criticizing old white guys and finding fault. And that's everybody. I mean, there's the far left, like Salon or Slate, The View, and there's no shortage of left. But the folks that are perceived as mainstream, Time Magazine, CNN, the big ones, are also just very, very critical of white guys. The white guy's 15 minutes is over. Oh, the greatest threat to America is the white guy. The white male must be stopped. And I'm thinking, this is rubbish. And my son and I were sitting actually on this very couch like a year ago watching a news program. And it was another one of these, and we rolled our eyes. And I looked at him and I shrugged and I said, white guys are okay too. And we laughed, but it was, that little moment where you think, wait a minute, there's something here. And I started assembling the list. And when you open just the introduction section of the book, it's just in the intro. I have like 3 or 4 pages of quotes from news media bashing white guys. And my favorite is Don Lemon on CNN, who says, and I don't have it exact, but who says something along the lines of, we need to stop demonizing various groups in America and realize that white guys are the biggest threat or something. And I thought, all in one sentence, he says, please don't demonize, and then he demonizes white guys. So it's just crazy stuff. So what I did was put the book together and reminded people that there are little things like penicillin or basketball or Coca-Cola that white guys created that millions of people all around the globe enjoy and benefit from, and we're okay too. But in the book, I didn't want it. You opened by joking and saying, gee, it sounds racist, and I was afraid some people would perceive it that way. So we created, I said it's white guys are okay too, heroes throughout history. But if you look, you see that's Aretha Franklin and Michael Jordan and MLK and so on, all on the cover. And what we've done is point out good people from all races and from both genders. If you talk about great statesmen of the world, then Nelson Mandela has to come to mind. And everybody knows the story, but we do a whole section on Nelson Mandela. And then after that, we go, but Pope John Paul II wasn't too bad either, and he highlights him. So we try to make sure everybody's covered. And the most important point for me in the book is today's world, today's media, today's news is all bad. They want to scare you, they want to aggravate you, and they think that's how they're going to get you back. There is not a single bad word in the book. Everybody that's mentioned in here, we are praising, we like, we're complimenting. There isn't a bad word to be found. So if you were just tired and burnt out on criticism and awful news, White Guys Are Okay Too is a really good-natured, fun, fully factual and informative, but fun read.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I introduced him the way I did, because he's a happy warrior. He's not, he's not an angry person. He actually is happy. And who doesn't want to be happy?
It's a good way to live your life, best I can tell.
Tim, it seems like everything today is race. I mean, you can't watch 2 minutes of TV, listen to 2 minutes of radio without race somehow being brought into things. You're a writer, an author, a commentator, a communicator. One of the people that are featured on the cover of your book is Martin Luther King. I think one of the greatest statements he ever made was when he said, being judged by the content of my character, not the color of my skin. Tim, can you ever see a day and age when color and race, sexuality, religion will not be considered, will not be taken in consideration when you talk about people and their accomplishments, their goals, their aspirations?
Only if everyone agrees with me. So no, that seems to be society's thing is everybody is mad at everybody because they don't agree. And I'm thinking, my wife and I don't agree 100% of the time, but I still really like her. There's no reason why we can't have disagreements. What I mentioned in college, I had a U.S. Senate internship, and one of my best friends, president of my fraternity, was a Democrat who later went to work as a staffer on the Hill on the D side. And we would sit down senior year of college and have these wonderful discussions. And once in a while he would convince me, and once in a while I would convince him. Usually we'd walk away not convinced, but having a better understanding of why the other side thought what they thought. And we were still great friends. You didn't have to dislike someone because you disagreed with them. So, I'll give you a silly example, and sports should be a great uniter. When I was a kid, and I'm 55, when I was a kid, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was my favorite basketball player. Hank Aaron was my favorite baseball player. It didn't occur to me in my 10-year-old mind that I liked a white guy or a black guy or anything else. I just knew Hank Aaron was great, and I loved Hank Aaron. And it never occurred to me anything about...
I didn't think very much of Hank Aaron. It seemed like he always beat the hell out of my Phillies. I wasn't a great Hank Aaron fan. I got to admit that.
And I thought that's how you learn that everybody's the same. Is sports has that ability to bring people together. Yeah. This year, when sports is jamming it down your throat, telling you must be racist and you must agree with this group, and the NBA playoffs were off 45% on television ratings. I'll tell you, I'm a lifelong Laker fan because of Kareem and Magic Johnson and all those guys, but I didn't watch a single game. They won the championship. I couldn't have cared less because I'm not going to have social, the social chorus of the day forced down my throat. And so I thought, here's this great tool that should be uniting, and they're blowing it. But I think to answer your question succinctly is not in the foreseeable future without the right person. And by that, I mean after the Jimmy Carter presidency, people didn't really believe in America. You'd come out, and I'm not blaming Carter alone. I'm saying you'd come out of Watergate, and so people didn't trust politicians anymore. Oh my God, they're dirty, they're bad. Presidents had to resign, or he would have been impeached. And then you had this inept Jimmy Carter. So then you have, not only do we not trust them, but my God, they can't even do the job. And you had the right guy, a guy who could communicate a unifying message, a guy who could communicate that America was good, and confidence, comfort, and I pictured Jimmy Carter. I was a kid, but struggling, carrying his own bags, trying to seem like a regular guy, carrying his own bags off Air Force One. And even as a kid, I thought, that's stupid. He's president of the United States. Somebody can carry his bag. He ought to come out and look presidential. And Reagan could do all that. We're missing that today. If Joe Biden wins, he's clearly not the guy. He is not articulate. He is not, and he's a divider. The Democrats, for whatever reasons, it's been very effective for them. But since Obama, Clinton, and now Biden, they spend their time telling black people, you must vote for us. Hispanic people, you must vote for us. Instead of having a message for all of America, it's cutting it up. Women, it doesn't matter. They segment it out. And so I think, and Trump is clearly not the guy to unite people. I love the judges he selects. I love the economic plan. But I can see why people don't like him. He is rude. He is brash. He is, so neither one of these candidates is going to unite us. And I just think to myself, I watch these debates and I think, how hard would it be really to go and sit down at one of those debates and look in the camera and say, when they ask you a question about black America or white America, to say, you know what? I think every mom out there, regardless of the pigment of the skin, every mom out there wants the same thing for their kid. They all want their kid to grow up healthy. They want their kid to grow up happy. They want their kid to grow up not being picked on, hopefully get a good education and have some opportunity. But they want them safe, and they want a future for them. And I'm thinking, how hard is that? Everybody has that in common, no matter where you live in the United States, in Philly or Atlanta, in Maine or in Hawaii. It doesn't matter. Every parent wants that. How hard is it to come up with 2 or 3 uniting messages like that?
I don't know. Hey, Tim, got to ask you this quick question. Got to ask you for a quick response because the clock is our master. I really did think after Barack Obama was elected, the idea that America is this racist country, that would no longer be a question. That didn't solve the problem. How would you respond to that?
I agree with you completely. I remember on election night, he gave his speech to a gazillion people in the park in Chicago, and he gave a great speech. And it was a uniting speech, and he even talked about responsibility. He talked about black dads staying with their families, and I thought, my God, here's an opportunity. I disagree with his politics, but here's an opportunity. Gallup does a poll every year, and they have since the 1960s. When Barack Obama became, and they ask the same questions year after year. When Barack Obama became president, 22% of America thought race relations were bad or very bad. When Barack Obama left, 55% thought race relations were bad or very bad. Wow. He failed miserably. He caused a lot of this trouble we have now.
Tim Constantine, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. But Tim, before you leave us, tell us how our listeners and viewers can watch us, listen to you, read your articles, buy that book, and hold it up again.
Absolutely. Here, we'll get it in there. Woo. The easiest thing is go to timconstantine.com to find all of the above. But also you can find the book anywhere fine books are sold, Books A Million, Amazon.com, Barnes & Nobles, wherever it is. I believe it might be up for a Pulitzer Prize. I'm not sure.
Wow.
But we can, we'll find out. So,
Tim, we want to have you back on again. I hope you can do that for us.
Anytime. You let me know when, I'll be there. Thank you.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with George Landreth and yours truly, Rick Trader. George and I will be back with more right after this break. Don't go away.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000. You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry. They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more. Call the number on your screen now for a free, no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and zero deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Well, George, that's just about it for today's show. I mean, a great show, great guest, and I want to thank you for sitting in as my co-host. And George, tell our listeners and our viewers how they could follow your work and the work of Frontiers of Freedom.
Sure. Best place to go initially is just ff.org. Pretty easy, 2 F's and a .org. And then on Twitter, you can follow me at G Landreth. That's GLANDRITH. Couldn't get much easier. And what a privilege it was. We had Dick Morris, and then 2 old friends of mine, and Susan Allen and Tim Constantine. Just great guests. Hallmark of the show. They were awesome.
All right. But for right now, we're out of time, and we got to run, and we got to go. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.